Shyness has a strange element of narcissism, a belief that how we look and how we perform is truly important to other people. Dubus. Before hastily dismissing shyness as a mere frailty, let us peer into its depths through an alternate lens. A quiet paradox lies hidden within timidity. The more we fret over our own image, the more we inadvertently cast ourselves as the focal point of the universe. We step into a room, haunted by the illusion that every gaze is anchored to the creases of our attire, every nuanced gesture, or the slightest stumble in our speech. Yet, the world beyond our own skin is already utterly consumed by its own private anxieties. The person standing opposite us is likely wrestling with their own inner voices, wondering if they appear refined enough, intelligent enough, or if they are garnering our affection. Each of us possesses an inner stage where we eternally cast ourselves as the protagonist. Thus, in truth, we rarely occupy the minds of others for nearly as long as we imagine. Shyness, in essence, does not stem from humility, but from an unintentional magnification of our own significance in the eyes of the world. It is a state of profound, excessive self-consciousness, akin to a soul lingering too long before a mirror. They begin to catastrophize flaws that onlookers would never even perceive. The harder we scrutinize, the more our natural grace vanishes. The deeper our thirst for perfection, the more rigid we become, forfeiting our innate authenticity. The terror of being judged inadvertently erects an invisible fortress, imprisoning a spirit that was born to be free. Imagine a solitary leaf grazing the glassy surface of a lake. The leaf might believe the entire body of water is trembling for its sake, yet those faint ripples endure but for a fleeting moment before the waters reclaim their primordial stillness. Human existence mirrors this very phenomenon. A faltered word, an incomplete answer, or a moment of sheer awkwardness merely drifts through the memories of others like a passing breeze. Soon enough, they are swept back into the current of their own lives. It is only us who compulsively rewind these mental reels, inflating trivial missteps into colossal monuments of dread. The master key to our own liberation lies not in the pursuit of absolute flawlessness, but in embracing the truth that we need not be perfect to be worthy of love. When the focal point shifts from "what are they thinking of me" to "what value can I breathe into this moment," the mind is suddenly graced with a profound lightness. A conversation ceases to be an oppressive interrogation room. It morphs into a bridge of genuine connection. Each time you dare to raise your voice, dare to offer a smile, or present your unvarnished self, you are dismantling another iron bar from the cage of your own insecurity. True confidence does not emerge from the conviction of one's perfection. It takes root the moment you realize the world does not orbit around you. And quite miraculously, the moment you cease striving to be the centerpiece of others' thoughts, you become entirely natural, magnetic, and utterly unforgettable. That is the precipice where you are finally free to live in alignment with your primal essence, not to manufacture an impression, but to truly savor the tapestry of life. Rarely have I seen a situation where doing less than the other guy is a good strategy. Jimmy Spithill, there exists a glaring truth, often cast aside. Life does not measure untapped potential. It only acknowledges materialized value. The world does not weigh us by harbored intentions, whispered promises, or blueprints lying dormant on a page. The strokes that paint a person's portrait are, invariably, their actions. Humanity is deeply susceptible to the seduction of effortless shortcuts. We crave accelerated triumphs and early harvests. Yet we yearn to expend the absolute minimum of our life force. Our brains, hardwired for the conservation of energy, perpetually seek to procrastinate, evading burdens in favor of ephemeral comforts. Thus, many fall into the delusion that working smart equates to doing less. In reality, working smart is not the amputation of effort, but the precise calibration of energy, ensuring every fleeting hour forges the highest possible yield of value. The architect of success need not labor more than every soul alive, yet they rarely permit themselves to fall beneath the threshold of effort required to carve out enduring legacies. Gaze upon a deep emerald forest in the wake of a tempest. The ancient sentinels that tower so proudly do not owe their majesty to the favoritism of fate. They stand resolute because their roots have silently pierced the womb of the earth over countless seasons, fiercely hoarding every drop of sustenance while warring against myriad fierce squalls. What the mortal eye perceives is merely a lush canopy, yet the ultimate arbiter of their survival lies in the obscured, subterranean labors. So it is with humanity. Behind a profoundly compelling speech lie hundreds of hours forged in the crucible of silence. Behind an unshakable empire are countless falls, followed by autonomous resurrections. Behind an aura of supreme confidence lie 1,000 instances of stepping boldly beyond the borders of sanctuary. The crowning glory is that endeavor does not merely alter the face of the outcome. It fundamentally restructures your very core. With every triumph over inertia, you are tempering your discipline. With every task completed devoid of inspiration, you are fortifying your grit. These incremental conquests, woven together, gradually sculpt a vastly more resolute and formidable version of yourself. That is the ultimate sovereign reward of absolute devotion. Not fleeting fame or gold, but the profound evolution of the self. Naturally, true worth does not reside in blind, frenetic busyness. Exhaustive labor, stripped of purpose, merely orchestrates one's own ruin. Authentic value lies in the willingness to dive deeper when the horizon is vast enough, to hunger for knowledge with greater tenacity when others have pitched their tents, and to endure long after the masses have forsaken the march. Excellence does not belong to the supreme intellect. It is claimed by the one willing to bleed more value than the world demands. Existence operates upon the grand laws of conservation and exchange. To reap a richer harvest, you must evolve into a grander vessel. To claim extraordinary spoils, you must forge creations of corresponding magnitude. And in any odyssey, opting to do less than the next soul has never been the masterstroke of those who conquer the summit. It is the fierce readiness to march one extra mile, to endure one more dawn, and to bleed just a little more that carves the yawning chasm between a life of quiet mediocrity and a legacy of blazing brilliance. You may have to fight a battle more than once to win it. Margaret Thatcher. Glory has never been the exclusive birthright of those who have known no falls. It is the ultimate crown reserved for those with the iron will to rise from every ruin. Life is not a sprint dictated by a solitary starting pistol. It is an epic, sprawling crusade where each trial pens a new chapter and every defeat serves as the anvil upon which we forge our mettle. In an epoch of instant gratification, we are easily swept into the feverish desire to harvest immediate fruits. The sheer convenience of modern sorcery inadvertently instills within us an expectation of speed for life's most monumental aspirations. At the first stumble, we doubt our own prowess. By the second defeat, we plunge into bewilderment regarding the path we have sworn to walk. And upon the third strike, a multitude surrender their swords. Yet, they remain utterly blind to the truth. The agonizing urge to surrender is most ferocious just moments before the grandest of turning points is poised to reveal itself. Envision a stonecutter relentlessly driving his hammer against a colossal monolith. The first blow, the second, and then dozens more rain down. Yet the stone stands unyielding, devoid of a single fracture. Were one to judge solely by these nascent strikes, it would appear an exercise in absolute futility. But then, at the very next strike, the boulder violently splits in twain. Was it merely that final solitary blow that birthed the miracle? No, it was the hundreds of silent preceding strikes that sent invisible shockwaves reverberating through the very architecture of the stone. The trajectory of triumph in life mirrors this exact cosmic law. With every ounce of effort, every mended error, every patient step forward, you are accumulating clandestine transformations that remain cloaked from the mortal eye. The most profound terror lies not in the shattering of a dream, but in allowing a single fall to brand the entirety of one's self-worth. Failure is but an objective occurrence. It is not your identity. An interview gone awry does not transfigure you into a lesser being. A passion project reduced to ashes does not negate your inherent brilliance. A bitter rejection does not strip you of your innate worthiness. Defeat only truly acts as the final curtain when you, yourself, choose to draw it. If you choose to keep marching, it is nothing more than a winding curve in the sweeping epic of your life. In truth, every adversity harbors an invaluable talisman that sunlit days could never bestow. Stumbling allows us to perceive the fissures within our own armor. Rejection is the grand forge of humility. Those darkened, winding roads temper the resilience of the soul, and every instance we are cast back to the starting line is a revelation of the mind-bending frontiers of our own willpower. That is why the fiercely resilient do not perceive adversity as a foe. They bow to it as a draconian, yet profoundly benevolent master. An enduring triumph is rarely crowned by a solitary skirmish. It is woven from the silent decrees made at the altar of every new dawn, to press onward when the bones ache, to glean wisdom from the ashes of error, to remain steadfast when the harvest is barren, and to clutch onto belief, even as the tempest howls. Just as the dawn does not blaze forth upon a single ray of light, victory is the grand convergence of countless, tireless endeavors. The sole dichotomy bridging the conqueror and the vanquished is not the tally of their falls, but the audacious decree to rise just one more time. Every battle you dare to brave is honing the blade of your spirit, expanding the very borders of your being, and pulling you ever closer to the precipice of your dreams. Therefore, if you find yourself bleeding in the arena today, do not let your spirit wane. Victory may elude you in the opening round, but its throne is forever reserved for those with the iron fortitude to step into the next. It is a magnificent thing to know that one has given their absolute all, but never relinquish hope, for without it, all endeavor turns to ash. Hope, hope, until the very end. Charles Dickens. Pouring out your utmost effort is the blood pact of action, while nurturing hope is the sacred sanctuary of the soul. Only when these two forces march in unison can we summon the endurance to tread our chosen path to its absolute terminus. Many harbor the delusion that hope is but a fragile sentiment or a state of naive optimism. In the profound depths of human psychology, hope is the most torrential surge of internal energy, propelling humanity forward even as the velvet night continues its reign. It is akin to a solitary ember amidst an abyss of darkness. Its glow may not possess the ferocity to illuminate the entire voyage ahead, yet it is forever sufficient to reveal your very next footfall. Men do not surrender because their mortal coils are utterly drained. They fall because they can no longer decipher a reason to endure the march. The grand machinery of nature does not operate upon the ticking clocks of humankind. There are seeds that demand long, silent months, slumbering beneath the soil, hoarding vital essence before they dare to breach the surface. There are titans of the forest that require decades to anchor their roots before they can erupt upward to drink the sun. Were the sower to gaze upon a barren patch of earth after a mere few days and prematurely pronounce the seed dead, they would personally sever the very throat of a life, silently taking form. The same rings agonizingly true for our grandest dreams. There are endeavors that appear utterly invisible, yet day by day, hour by hour, they are orchestrating seismic shifts beneath the bedrock of reality. The most tragic sorrow is not the seed that fails to sprout, but the cultivator who abandons the field on the very eve of spring. That which suffocates the human spirit is rarely the sheer savagery of the trial, but the creeping venom of doubt that all our striving is utterly meaningless. Yet the cosmic truth remains. No breath of genuine effort is ever forgotten by this universe. Every craft you relentlessly hone, every defeat you boldly conquer, or every gaping wound you stitch closed yourself is quietly constructing a wildly more invincible iteration of you. Even if your cardinal destination fractures and morphs, the sovereign virtues you have scavenged along that harrowing road will forever march beside you as priceless artifacts. Therefore, offering up your entire soul is never a squandered wager. Genuine hope is not synonymous with pathetic passivity, sitting idly while begging the fates for a miracle. True hope is forever forged and underwritten by the blade of action. It is the ironclad decree to keep sharpening your blade when the rest of the world has laid theirs down. It is the defiance of keeping a smile alive after enduring days of unrelenting storms. It is the unshakable conviction that an imperfect today does not condemn tomorrow to a wasteland devoid of hope. Hope serves as the billowing sail, whilst action embodies the relentless oar. Severed from either, the vessel of one's life will struggle intensely to conquer the roaring tides of the deep. How profoundly precious it is when, at the twilight of a grueling day, you can smile into the void and whisper that you fought with every ounce of your being. Yet it is a far more majestic feat when, beyond all the crushing exhaustion, you manage to keep your faith in tomorrow entirely unbroken. For as long as hope draws breath, the gates of uncharted possibilities remain thrown wide open. It is only when you yourself choose to drop the sword that the Odyssey truly meets its bitter end. Life perpetually guards silent bounties for those who can forge a sacred union between ferocious endeavor and ironclad belief. The culmination may not manifest in the precise shape you painted in your dreams, but if you have waged total war and anchored your hope to the bitter end, you shall inherit a version of yourself that is vastly more powerful, profoundly serene, and boundlessly deep. That is the paramount triumph, conquering the abyss of despair, so that, with every rising sun, you may courageously march toward the light. Hope is the last thing ever lost. Italian proverb. So long as the embers of hope continue to spark, an odyssey of 10,000 miles can always be reborn. Hope is not a cowardly retreat from reality, nor is it the chasing of distant phantoms. Hope is the uncanny mastery of perceiving the light, even as the stifling dark closes in from all sides. It is the diamond-hard conviction that the agonizing crucibles of today are but a fleeting chapter, never the final, damning verdict upon your existence. The sciences of the mind have laid bare a truth. Those who know how to nurse the flame of hope possess a miraculous architecture of resilience in the aftermath of devastation, not because they are spared from the blade of suffering, but because they comprehend that agony is merely a desolate waystation, not the graveyard of their journey. That very belief is the towering bastion that compels them to march on, long after the rest of the world has laid down to sleep. Turn your gaze toward the sovereign sun at the break of dawn. The black of night may drag on, casting its heavy shroud over all creation and suffocating the realm in silence. Yet, never in the history of existence has a night been vast enough to prevent the waking of the dawn. The light returns not by the permission of the dark, but because it is the uncompromising, eternal law of the cosmos. The mortal journey mirrors this grand design. The shadowed, twisting canyons of our lives may stretch long and bitterly cold, yet they do not possess the power of eternity. Hope is the sheer knowing that, just beyond the thickest veils of gray, the blazing sun still holds its throne, even if our earthly eyes cannot yet pierce the gloom. The most catastrophic casualty born of adversity is not the hemorrhaging of worldly wealth, but the silent severing of belief in oneself. Once the flame of hope is snuffed out, humanity is stripped of the drive to strive, to ascend, and to tread forward. A heavy door slamming shut does not signal the death of a destiny, but if we surrender to the illusion that all pathways have vanished, we are the architects of our own desperate prisons. In truth, the most breathtaking frontiers reveal themselves exclusively to those armed with the patience to endure the wait and the valor to relentlessly continue the march. Akin to a monolithic lighthouse standing defiant against the roaring deep, hope does not tame the fury of the storm. It does not silence the screaming waves, nor does it compress the harrowing miles of a ship's voyage. Yet, its unblinking, sovereign beam grants the mariner the vital bearing to steer straight through the heart of the tempest. In the theater of life, hope does not flatten the jagged edges of the road, but it anchors the soul, preventing us from wandering blindly through the most merciless trials. When the spirit still harbors a summit to scale, a phantom to love, or a grand vision to hunt down, a mortal man will unearth an infinite subterranean reservoir of power, and the most spellbinding sorcery of hope lies in its miraculous contagion. A single breath of genuine encouragement, a gaze steeped in profound empathy, or an outstretched hand can reignite a soul that had surrendered to the ice. This is precisely why those who radiate defiant optimism drape an aura of profound peace and warmth over everyone in their orbit. They do not peddle lies of an effortless road. Rather, they inject us with the unbreakable faith that the tides will turn in our favor if only we refuse to stop moving forward. Hope is not the pathetic vigil of waiting for a phantom miracle. It is the ultimate decree to never kneel before the throne of fate. It is the fiercely proud declaration that the scrolls of the future still harbor blank parchment, waiting solely for us to take up the quill. Even if today finds you chained in the darkest abysses of hardship, imprint this upon your mind. Existence is forever pregnant with breathtaking, unforeseen turns. As long as the embers of hope still crackle, you hold the power to rebuild from the ashes, to evolve, and to forge the bleeding scars of today into the golden crown of tomorrow. And sometimes, the solitary force that elevates our weary feet for the next step is not the absolute certainty of conquest, but simply because, deep within the chamber of our hearts, hope remains brilliantly untamed.